Everybody, we're back. We have an interesting match here.
Yeah, it looks like we've got the Jund mirror.
so I actually just before this round, I actually asked uh, Hudson here for their Jun Shadow list. I actually have it, so we can actually talk about their individual card choices if they like. They're playing Questing Druid.
Sweet.
It's
Nice.
super sweet.
Yeah, no, that sounds really good, especially in the Shadow decks. I feel like the Shadow decks have really been the secret winners on the Questing Druid aspect. Murktide has been playing it for, however long it was, while the One Ring and while, what was the other deck that was, like, really, a Scam. While those were the top decks of the format, Murktide was on that, light green splash. But man, it does not belong in Murktide, it belongs in Shadow. Grixis Shadow, Jund Shadow, Four Color, whatever, just whatever it takes to play that card. It just
Yeah.
works so much better there than it does.
Yeah, and I think that the Murktide like shell is like perfectly positioned. Excuse me, perfectly positioned to use expressive iteration.
Yep.
And I think that that card is absolutely a house, like undoubtedly like very good. Um, I think that Questing Druid is like a more aggressive and like more uh, easily splashable. I think that card is like very good.
Yep.
As soon as Mark gets back in, we'll pull up Questing Druid for you guys. But the both of these players are playing Inti, which we will also pull up. Do you know the text on Inti?
I do know the text on it. It is a 2/2 for 1 and a red. It is a like human warrior or something like that. Uh, Whenever you discard a card, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until the end of your next turn, I believe, at the beginning of your
I
next
actually
turn.
have it here. So yeah, whenever you attack, you may discard a card. When you do, put a 1/1 counter on a target attacking creature. It gains trample until end turn. Has the static ability. Whenever you discard one or more cards, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until your next end step. So if it's on your turn, obviously you won't
Right.
get it till the following turn, or
Yep.
you won't. It won't carry over into the following turn.
Unless you
Um,
do it on your own end.
correct.
And it looks like we're going to be able to see the hand from that turn one Thoughtseize. So we do have the Questing Druid right here. And can we get Questing Druid pulled up, please? We've
It's gonna
got
be that green and red card there.
what? No way.
So
And yeah, this is a very stereotypical looking hand from the Jund Saga deck.
I know that Dustin has been toying around with a like a scam shell for quite a while. I know that they're playing Inti as well as some cookbooks in there. I know that we're gonna run into a Esmorda Dicey Coldakar here in a few minutes.
What?
I assume.
Can
As a
you pull
name
that
of
one
a
up?
Esmorda Dicey Coldakar as a 0 mana creature that you have to madness, something like that.
Yeah, you have to discard a card before you can cast it, and you can cast it for 1 red or 1 black hybrid.
Yeah. Really interesting magic card. Looks like we have Saga. Makes a lot of sense in the as well as another Thoughtseize.
And that's
It's
going
going
to
to
be
be
a
a
very painful
Street Wraith that we're looking at. So
brand
we
new
have,
Street Wraith.
yep. So Street Wraith, Swamp. I believe that's a Nurturing Peatland, and then Inti Bowmaster.
I
And,
believe that's a Verdant Catacombs.
is it okay? And then that Questing Beast there on top. Hudson's
Yeah.
going to be a good guy and play with his hand revealed.
Classic Hudson.
Absolutely. We're going to fetch with this Polluted Delta.
And are we going to see a shock? I don't actually know how aggressively these decks fetch shock just for no reason anymore.
For the shadow. So it depends how much shadow you have in your hand. So
Yeah, makes sense.
it looks like with no shadow, I assume we're it looks like we're not going to shock here.
Right.
How much shadow experience do you have?
A decent amount. I had some shadow experience before War of the Spark when, the format started to just get turned on its head, and then Modern Horizons 1. And that was a deck that I played at a certain point, and I played the Grixis Green version. It was nice, or whatever. And then after Modern Horizons 2 came out, I played a ton of it with Luris, and that did not
Yeah.
feel like a shadow deck at all.
Yeah.
That was just a DRC Ragavan deck with black in it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that was something that people were realizing, and that was before the Murktide official deck had become sort of what it is today. It was just kind of like we are playing blue and red and just casting a lot of very efficient self mill,
Yep.
sort of efficient cards. And that was when Grixis Shadow has kind of just been less of that Turbo Xerox deck that we saw before War of the Spark and Eldraine.
Yep.
and it's been more of the sort of hyper efficient type of thing that we've been discussing. Like
Right.
more of the standard is not the right word, but playing cards that are that are
Just
the,
a very typical 1-2-3.
Yeah.
The same way that Murktide is playing.
yeah.
Looks like we're
So
going to be seeing the Asmore. There's a Fable over Chase Daredevil, Dothy Voidwalker, and I
Right.
believe that is either a Blood Tithe Harvester or a Croxa, but I'm not
I think it's a
recognizing that.
Blood Tide Harvester.
Man, what is that?
I think it's a Blood Tide Harvester.
Okay.
Um,
And it looks like
Shadows.
yeah,
gonna be played by
Hudson is going to be punished for not shocking on the end step. That is going to be a 1/1 shadow against these red deck, which
Now,
could have been a 3/3. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point.
now I don't know how much removal Dustin's actually playing. I know that like having Oval Chase Dragster, having Asmo, having Cookbooks, like those are like that's a big chunk, a big package to actually play in a deck. So you have to make cuts. You have to find where your deck is actually able to fit those, and a lot of times removal is where that comes from. Obviously, it looks
Right.
like they're still playing the
when your package is removal, Asmore does
Yes.
kill the creatures.
For sure.
That is going to be reasonable to cut, but don't do this. Don't do that. If your package is not already built in removal, don't cut removal for your combo.
I guess the kind of trimming into removal is something that often happens when you start to
Right.
build something like this, and I don't know. I haven't delved very deeply into the sort of where Cookbook is right now.
Right.
So I don't know how stock this list is.
Right.
We're gonna see the Inti out of Hudson. We're gonna cycle a Street Wraith, which is going to exile a card with Inti, so that Hudson's going to see 2 cards off of this Street Wraith.
Very
Pretty
nice.
good for 2 life.
Good combo. And
Must
yeah,
have
that we did see a Street Wraith come off of the Questing
gonna be a
Druid,
10 life.
the Seek the Beast, and obviously that's a bit of a non-bow, but then we see the other half of it where we're cycling it, we're not exiling Street Wraith off the top. And that's where the pressure is on this card, where sometimes you just get it in the wrong order.
And Hudson is 5 fewer life. Yeah, he's gonna be at 7 there.
I can see it.
Oh, perfect. Good. Yeah, and I actually played against Hudson on this. I don't know if it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I was playing Yawgmoth, as I've been working on for quite a while, and this deck's very good. I was very impressed at its ability to dig and sort of delve into itself. It felt kind of how you and I were discussing that, it felt a lot like the Murktide adjacent stuff.
Right.
When that deck can just dig to find answers.
Yep.
And this deck is not as good at that, but it makes up for it in having a heck of a lot of threats.
Yeah.
And as you may know, playing
Yes,
Shadow.
16 or more at this point. I believe
Wow.
Jund even plays more than that
Cleaned it
now.
up. Yeah, so the sort of threat density of Grixis Shadow for a long time was what?
Before
12?
with Shadow was like 10.
Yeah, I mean you're
It
playing
was 4 Shadow, 4 Grimag Angler, and you were playing like 2 Snapcaster Mage or something
Yeah.
like that.
and then
And
count
then
an extra half creature for your 4 Street Raids that you
No,
have
you
to
do
cast
not.
sometimes.
no, you do not.
Yeah, you do.
You do not count that. If you were hard casting Street Raids, your
We already
opponent
lost, I know.
doesn't deserve to be playing Modern at that point. Like, I don't know. I
Look,
never did that. I don't think
I've-
I've ever done that.
I've pathed a couple of Street Raids in my time.
You saw?
But I was playing Blue White Control, and they didn't have any other threats to play.
I have not to say that I haven't played Street Wraith and had Street Wraith on the battlefield and attacked as a creature, but that was in Legacy with Reanimate. Where turn 1 cycle Reanimate and you've suddenly got a Delver that is better than Delver.
Yeah.
No, it was really good. It was good against Grixis Control in particular. Fatal Push just didn't do anything against that card.
Yeah, I mean, I guess kind of the point that I was making is that really gone are the days that Shadow is light on threats.
Yeah, good riddance. That deck was miserable when it didn't line up. It just felt like, you're asking yourself the question, why am I even playing Magic the Gathering if this is going to happen to me?
Yeah, I believe Todd Anderson had a saying about that deck, at the height of Grixis Shadow, and that was when Grixis is doing what it's supposed to.
It's impossible.
It's like, why would I ever play anything else?
Right.
And when it isn't doing what it's supposed to, when you draw the wrong half of the deck, it's like, why would I ever play this deck?
Yeah, exactly.
and I think that that's a disparity that a lot of pros got very, very good at threading the line on. And I think that that's
you need to know what matters, which is obviously what
Precisely,
pros are
yeah.
good at.
Yeah, and when you have the time to sort of develop your understanding of the nuance of card interactions and kind of like where the deck fits into the format. I really miss that format. I think a lot of modern players, like, you know, I think we've spoken about this on the stream before, and that's like a lot of players have some rose tinted glasses for that format. You know, and you know, it was E-Tron, it was humans, it was Shadow. That was the rock paper scissors, and then everything else was a tier below.
Yep.
You know, and
you did have some random decks pop up into that tier 1. Like we did see what was the name of that deck? The Madness deck, not the Madness deck.
Hollow One.
Hollow One. Yeah, that deck made a huge splash and was tier 1, 1.5 for a long time.
We had
Storm was up in there for wherever. Tron was up in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we had I know that Affinity like was still around that time, and then we had
Scales was kind of cropping up at the same time.
Exactly. Too. Yep, and that was something that around that time, like I mentioned earlier, like Scales absolutely destroyed any fair deck.
Yep.
And that was like the case until very recently.
I do want to mention, it looks like we're just playing the mirror right now. This is just the dopiest dopiest oh man, this looks like actually the mirror. It's
what did Hudson play?
That was a turn 1 Ragavan.
No, the card in the bin.
Oh, card in the bin is a Street Wraith, I believe that was cycled.
Interesting. Okay, what's the life total on Hudson?
Good question.
13. Okay, that would make sense. So that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So
big take 2. You saw he flicked that.
Got him.
Yeah.
So it was
just
shock.
playing a Shadow.
I understand. So shock 2, 5. I understand. Perfect.
And it looks
so
like I
that
got
is
a
Street Wraith.
Bowmaster's on the
Bowmaster.
step.
That's 3 Blackcleave Cliffs from Dustin.
Very, very good start against the aggro deck.
Fatal Push is going to be on the Bowmaster
Bowmasters.
proper. We're going to get a ping on Dustin's life and a counter on that Bowmaster.
Bowmaster proper? I've never heard that before.
I
love that.
the token there.
Yeah.
A Delta from Hudson. Let's see if he can deploy another threat. I imagine with all those cards in the grip.
You'd think.
I hope.
We've just talked about Shadow. Yeah, I see a DRC. I see a couple other things. How far are we? That's a lot of creatures in the bin. Oh, man. Yep. It's all creatures and lands.
We're gonna fetch.
And we're going to
get a shock.
Got to get that Jund mana. Got to get my life down to sub 10.
I would love to see 2 shadows here.
Would you?
I would. That would make me
I'd be mad.
very happy.
If he did that, just be like,
Darcy, Shadow. Let's go.
Oh, God.
Untap, TBR.
Shredder Shadow is a lot more fun than that, in my opinion.
Hey, called it! Let's go!
I'm mad.
Sorry for spiking the audio. Heck yeah! And Damnation.
Shieldred. Ooh, that's a very good one, actually. No, it's not, actually, because it's going to be
Shadows are going to...
Turn them into 5/5s, yeah.
It's going to have to chump block. In fact, this is very reminiscent of when I was playing against Hudson, and I played my own Shieldred out of Yogg, and
then you lost.
And then I lost because Hudson attacked with some 5/5 shadows, and then played a TBR on the one that was blocking Shieldred.
You suck. Shows you coming.
It died in first strike.
You know what this sounds like? Sounds like the Rhinos matchup.
Yep.
Where they just dead gone your blocker. I've done that a lot. It's so good.
Yep.
Oh, man. Yeah, notably, Shieldred makes you lose life the turn it comes down, not gains your opponent life. And that's really what matters, because when you remove it, who cares? You know, take 2. Nice 4-mana shock, dude.
Yep.
And it looks like,
unfortunately, Dustin played the creature, which unfortunately cost him 4 more life. Because that, of course, reduced Hudson's life total.
That is going to be a contestation.
What was that, a grip?
Grip of lands. We got the
Saga. Get that counter. Can't miss it. Pass.
You can miss it. It's just
all right, TBR. I'm ready.
Easy?
I'm ready.
More like 3BR, am I right?
TBR, of course, is referring to Teamer Battle Rage. And if you don't know what that card is, I feel sorry
that card
for
just
you.
kills you.
It's a 2-mana
Pauper
instant.
staple.
2-mana instant. It says target creature gains double strike, and if you have Ferocious, it also gains trample.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, good memory.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Played that card for years. I was a Grixis Shadow player for a very long time.
I understand. I was always.
Do we still not have Delirium?
Probably not. It's all creatures and lands.
Fetch.
It doesn't matter. The fetch is going to turn the creatures into lethal.
Excellent. Well,
Right.
that's game 2 going to Hudson.
Very quick games.
Absolutely.